Hi, I'm Steve and welcome to the bike build. If you're new to the channel or if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. We're trying to get to 1500 subscribers and it does make a difference. Just press the button in the corner of the screen or the notifications below, press the bell notification, like the video. It's also a good one if you can do that. If you don't like it, press don't unlike and just leave me a comment saying why. But anybody who wants to leave a comment, I always try and reply. So this time we're going to be rebuilding the forks, doing the headset bearings, finishing off the painting again, and getting anything that needs to be done so that next time we can do a rolling chassis. It's getting to the point of where we're going to turn a corner. So there are polls on the community channel to vote on whether the side casings should be painted or polished, which I'm going to do at a later date, and the seat unit, which is pretty much done, I think. So pop over there, have a look. The side casings poll is still really close. Okay, let's get on with some work. Forks to reassemble. So cleaned everything down so it's all nice and clean. Get all of that gloopy grey fork oil off. The forks have been powder coated, look really nice. As I said before, they sort of trimmed all this out so you didn't get loads of overspray inside all the areas you didn't want overspray. So really impressed with the powder coaters. So it's quite straightforward really, just a reverse of what we did before. So obviously this is where Haynes manual is good because it'll tell you anything to inspect, such as the little Teflon bushes and bushes either end and this sort of piston ring type thing. So check all of them. Obviously you need fork oil as well. This is my left hand fork tube because I marked them, and left hand fork leg. So damper rod in first, get that in. Damper rod covery thing, this is the awkward bit. New copper washers, use a new copper washer. They cost next to nothing. It's not worth trying to reuse the old one. So bit of oil, bit of fork oil on there, just to slide that in. Here, and then this has got to have some Loctite on it, but I'm not going to Loctite it yet because it's just easier to Loctite when you've got the spring in. So I'm just going to put it in for now and then I'll Loctite it up later on. It's far easier if you're not trying to film it. Hopefully get hold of it. Right, that's got it. Right, just got started. Someone come to the door, needed something, and now it's the next day. Oh, I get nothing done. So I'd put the fork leg in and tighten up the screw that holds the damper rod, but not completely. So I've just tried it and it seems to be actually tightening up quite nicely. So what I'm going to do is take it out, I'm going to Loctite it, and I'm going to put it in at its correct torque, and then that is done. And that should torque up to 20 Newton meters. So that is that. So now that won't leak oil. So next thing is to put the top bush in. So this bush fits into the fork leg and the fork tube slides through this. You need to look, and it's got, you can see it's got Teflon on the inside of here. If that Teflon's all worn away down to the copper, it needs binning. You need a new one. that one's okay. Now these are a bit of a pain to get in, like fork seals. So what I'll do is I'll put a little bit of oil on this, just so it slides nice, and it's already lubricated. And one side has a slightly bigger chamfer than the other, and so it's just going to start. So you're just going to slide that in. They're a bit tight, so I'm not going to knock it in with a screwdriver, but I am just going to make sure it's started in its hole. So I know that that's started. This is where you would have a fork seal tool, but I haven't got one. So what you need to do is make something, and what I've done before, what the easiest one is, because it's something you're going to use very rarely and then you're guaranteed it'll be different size forks. This is a piece of 40mm solvent weld pipe, so it's about 43, and all I've done is made sure it's cut nice and square, and then I've split it down its length, so that will fit over there. And you can see it's quite tight. These are 41mm forks, and that's just a bit longer. Some people put a clamp around there, pull the fork out slightly and use the fork to knock it in, but I prefer to do it that way, and then you can hit the top of the fork leg, hit the top of the pipe, and it should knock it in. So nice and square. And you slide that back, and that is going, looks like it's okay. So I'll put a piece of wood on the top, and that's it. That is in. So next is metal washer and the fork seal. So you don't really want to slide your fork seal straight on, because potentially, and if you can see, that's where the bottom yoke was. It's a little bit discoloration, but any sort of rusting that you get around your bottom yoke or in your fork legs can tear up your seal. Now these aren't bad, so I think on this case a good bit of lubrication on inside and outside, and your fork seal goes with the wire ring to the inside. Sometimes they have a wire ring on both sides, but it would always be the deeper one with the writing to the top, because you're trying to stop the oil coming out. The oil pushes into that gap and forces the seal on, and that's all oil seals. So plenty of oil on. You can put a film of plastic around there and slide it on under, or a plastic bag. Put a plastic bag on, slide it on. So these aren't bad. I'm not too worried about marking it. That starts off there. Now the plastic tube would obviously be too tight and hitting the inner of the seal. So what I've done here is I've cut a fitting that fits onto there, so that'll be even bigger. Slide that one on, and then that will slide inside it like that. Keep them at different spots. Now you could put a clamp around there, but that is now sat on the outside of the seal, and you can use that just to tap the seal back into place, which I'm going to do over here because it's just easier, he says. So that's in. Next, it's your little ring that slips into the groove. You'll feel it when it's solid. It's quite tight, the seal, although I think this was the tight side, so maybe it's tighter than normal. And just push that down, you'll hear it snap into place. I don't think it really does that much. Make sure that's in. So that's that, and then all you've got after that is your dust seal, which doesn't really do that much, so, but there's a bit of oil film on there still. So these forks are pretty good. and that should just push in. It's a lot less awkward when you're trying to do it and keep the camera on as well. Okay, so that's it basically. Now we have to fill up with oil. You get your oil level with the fork fully compressed, and then you put your spring and your little washer, spacer, all of that back in. So I'll fill both forks up together, I'll build the other fork up so we're at the same position. Right, that's it for this time. The video is going to run long, mainly because I keep getting disturbed, but as usual, when they run over 10 minutes